Hey, brother. Welcome to the Lead Your Wife podcast, where if you're wondering what does that even mean, you're in good company, man, because I wondered that for decades, and it wasn't until I learned what it meant that things started turning around inside my marriage. And so today, what I want to talk about is I want to talk about the concept that you are the chief emotions officer inside your marriage. Now, look, man, you're the chief everything officer, and we're going to go into that in future episodes. You're absolutely the chief executive officer. But I would say that your most important role in leading your wife is leading in the emotional space, leading her to feel better, leading her to feel better in every interaction. Now, think about this, man, it's dopamine. If she comes to believe and trust that she can have consistently uplifting experiences with you, she comes to you feeling some form of bad, and when she interacts with you, she, in that interaction, and as she leaves that interaction, feels better. She is going to want more of those interactions. She is going to want those interactions to last longer. She is going to think that you make her happy. And while you can't really make her happy, what you can do is you can lead her emotions into a higher place. So for all the men out there who are wondering, what does it even mean? No, it is not about being firm about your decision about steak versus Chinese for dinner and taking the lead and the initiative on that kind of stuff. What it is it's taking the lead and the initiative on making sure she feels better in every interaction. Look, brother, you are literally the guardian of her soul. Now, the Bible tells us that her soul is her mind, her will, and her emotions. And what we know is that your mind is either tortured or set free by your emotions. And as your mind is being tortured, your will is not going to lead to good choices and actions. However, if you can get your emotions into a good place, then you can get your mind into a good place, then you can get your will and your choices into a good place. So if you want her to make better choices regarding what she eats, regarding how much she exercises, regarding how much she reads her Bible, regarding how she interacts with your children, regarding how she takes care of herself overall, regarding how she takes care of you overall, regarding every aspect of her life, then what you've got to do is you've got to see yourself as the guardian and the protector of her emotions. And the only way that you can do that is you have got to learn how to lead her in the emotional space. Now, this becomes so powerful and is so possible because of a science that is called NLP. Neuro-linguistic programming. And what we learn from NLP is that it is all about frames. It is the frames from which we see or provide experiences to other people. And so the first thing that you've got to do as a man is you have got to build a frame for yourself. And this frame is you must see yourself as her guardian, the guardian of her soul, as her emotional leader. And you've got to step into that identity. And so I'm going to challenge you, if you think about, if you look out of the front window of your house, you see one view and it is real. However, if you look out of the back window of your house, you see another view and it is real. So the view of the window that you've probably been looking out as far as is how do I participate in this marriage? How do I show up in this marriage is probably something more like, I know I'm supposed to be leading her, but I'm not exactly sure what that looks like or what I'm supposed to do. And so now what I want you to do is I want you to forget about looking out that window, and I want you to look out the window that says, I will do what it takes. I will become the man I must become, whatever is necessary to learn the skills to be able to lead my wife emotionally. Once you make that pivot and that shift, now you start to see life through a different perspective. Now all of a sudden you got to come to grips with something. What does it mean to lead? It means to be in front of, as one of the possible definitions. It means to get somewhere first. It means to be the person who initiates. And we can have all kinds of conversations about that too. She doesn't only expect you to initiate behind closed doors. She expects you to initiate in all areas of your marriage. And it's a gift when she does it, but don't get too comfortable with that. If you let her do it too much, man, she's going to lose respect because you're not leading. So we're going to initiate feeling better. That means we have to get there before she does. so that we can have not only a frame of certainty around our ability to be this emotional leader and a frame of certainty around our identity that we must be this emotional leader, but we also have a frame of certainty around the fact that we can do this for ourselves. Like, if you can't do it for yourself, you cannot give it to her. If your cup is not full, you cannot tip your cup into hers. Man, you've got to do it first. And so the question becomes, how can you gain that emotional certainty? And not only the emotional certainty, but the certainty that you can uplift your own emotions. Look, brother, if you're not very blissful, you're not very blissful to be around. So you've got to figure out, how do you find your bliss? And what do I mean by bliss? That's not necessarily a very masculine term. What I mean by bliss is this unending river of joy, this unending river of peace, this unending river of confidence and warmth and safety, where you know that everything is okay and you know that everything is going to be okay. And so how do you generate this inside yourself? And to begin generating it inside yourself, which you've got to understand is, and I know that we have a lot of Christian men who follow these blogs, and I myself am a Christian, although I will admit that at times I have tried alcohol. And as I tried alcohol in my misspent youth, one of the things that I noticed was that when I would drink a little bit of alcohol, it would make me feel better. It would give me that feeling of bliss. This is why they call it social lube. This is why people drink in social situations, because they know that to be attractive and accepted by others, that they need to be in a happier state of mind. They can't be weighted down with their problems and their woes and their childhood wounds. They've got to be able to break free from them. Alcohol does that. Now, I am in no way promoting the use of alcohol, but what I do want to tell you is that what scientists have found is that alcohol does not make you happy. What it does is it cuts off your emotional pain. And if you cut off your ability to feel your emotional pain, then that joy, that bliss, that happiness, that warmth, that safety, that confidence, it's like it's always there for you. It is always there for you. It is a free gift from God. And all you've got to do to tap into it is to get rid of your emotional pain. And now a lot of guys would be watching this and they'd be like, Bob, I don't really have a lot of emotional pain. And what I'm going to say, man, is that maybe you don't think you have a lot of emotional pain, but as a 2-year-old boy, you were taught to stuff your emotions, to lie about them, to hide them, to sedate them, to cover them up, to deny them, to repress them. And you were also taught that if there's anything that feels bad, the only socially acceptable thing for you to do and be seen as a masculine man is to convert it to anger. Well, now imagine this, man. Now, knowing this, knowing Genesis 3:16, where God says you rule over your wife, knowing Ephesians 5, where she says that you are the head of the wife, knowing the other places inside the Bible where male headship is clearly called out and defined, you're leading whether you know it or not. And this is the terrifying thing. If you've got this pain that is locked inside you and rumbling around inside you, but you don't have handles to it, but it's in there, man. And every time something provokes you, every time you get the slightest bit irritated or annoyed or angry, it's all over your face. Imagine what experiences you're giving your wife, and imagine where you're leading her emotionally, whether you intend to or not. So what are you going to do, man? What you've got to do is you got to work on your own pain. What you got to do is you got to be able to break free from it without alcohol. You've got to find a natural way to do it. You've got to find God's way to do it. And as you find that natural God's way to do it and you start perfecting this technique, what you're going to find is that you can generate bliss and joy on demand. Imagine that, man. Bliss and joy on demand. And when you can build a frame of certainty that is unbreakable and impenetrable around your frame of bliss and joy on demand, then what you can do is you can see your wife as she brings you her female emotional storms. She can be all over the place, man. It can be the current president. It can be the past president. It can be the economy. It can be what's happening in the news. It can be something that you said or did that set her off. It could be something that you said or did years ago that set her off. It could be something that her sister's husband did that reminded her of something that you might do. And here she comes, man, with that tone in her voice and that look in her eye. But rather than being the weak-framed man and the weak-framed leader who allows her emotional storms to become yours, once you figure this out, you become the strong-framed man. You become the strong-willed man. You become a guy who is rock solid in the certainty of his emotions, and you are able to, as NLP says, your stronger frame absorbs her weaker frame every time. Now, What does this look like? It looks like all kinds of stuff, way too much to go into on this podcast. But what I'm going to tell you is your wife is giving you hints. Your wife is giving you hints that she's not getting the kind of experiences that she wants inside of this marriage. She's not getting the playful moments, the tickling moments, the teasing moments. She's not getting the tender moments. She's not getting the loving moments. She's not getting the romantic moments. Your ability to even understand what that stuff means and then to be able to create those moments. And remember, man, 59/60ths of the experience that you're giving her in those moments is the nonverbal, unseen things in the marriage. It is what is going on inside of your head and your heart. And if you've got all of that repressed and suppressed anger and rage and stuff in there, then you can't do it. And you may be sitting here and saying, Bob, I'm starting to kind of grok this. I'm starting to kind of understand what you're talking about. And I want to create those tender moments. And I try to smile at her and I try to be playful for her and I try to be romantic. And maybe she's shutting you down. Maybe she's rejecting that stuff. Or maybe you just aren't comfortable doing it and you're saying, that's not who I am. And so that's why I'm saying, man, the Bible tells you got to transform. Romans 12 and verse 2, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You've got to change who you are on the inside to become this man. A man who is currently unrecognizable to who you are today. A man who this is currently impossible for. You've got to do that transformative work. And if you want help doing that transformative work, then I want you to go to www.realmanrevolution.com, www.realmanrevolution.com, where we are starting a revolution of men who lead their wife into a happier emotional state in every interaction. This makes you affair-proof. This makes you divorce-proof. This makes you unhappiness-proof. This is how God expects you to lead your wife, first and foremost, as the chief emotions officer. So go to that website, www.realmanrevolution.com, and I'll see you on the other side.